Carrie Roberts here. I wanted to show my favorite feature of Windows. It's Microsoft PowerToys. It lets you create custom snap zones to put your windows in certain zones like this. So instead of what Windows has built in where you can put stuff to one side and get snapped either to a side or a corner, this expands all your options beyond that. So here I could take this window and I've already created some snap zones. So if I hold the shift key down, you can see my snap zones 1 through 8. So I've got one here that's this big. If I hold the shift key when I drag, I can drop that in here. I can take this back over here and it's already the right size, but of course it wouldn't need to be. We could take this, and if I hold the shift key, it'll highlight the zone I'm going to drop it in, and it'll drop it in there. So I have defined these zones, and even Windows 11 will remember which snap zone your apps were in. So if you go from using an external monitor to just your laptop and then back, your windows will go into the zones they were last, which that's extra nice on Windows 11. There's also the cool feature that you can take something that maybe you want blown up a little bit, and instead of just dropping into this one zone on the side, we could hover our mouse over the border between the two zones and let go here, and then this app fills up both of those zones instead of just one. So it's easy to expand. We can even snap an app to multiple zones. If when we're dragging with the shift key held, we also hold the control key, we can highlight multiple zones here. So now I've snapped it to 3 of my defined windows. I'll use the keyboard shortcut to get to the fancy zone editor where we can find our zones, which is Windows Shift Backtick. So here we have our zones. I have my custom zone here, Carrie. By the way, I am using a 43-inch TCL 4K TV as my monitor, so it's big, so it makes sense to break it up into multiple zones like this to maximize what I'm working on and to keep things organized. Okay, so let's see what it looks like to create another layout. Let's create a new layout, a grid. We'll call it example 2. And we'll create this. And here we can change the size of our zones. So we could have a really big zone in the middle. We can come over here and break this up into other zones. If for some reason the orientation of the splitter isn't right, you hold down the shift key, it'll change it. So here we could split horizontally again. There we go. Let's save and apply that. And this is our new layout. Notice it has this border here. We can change that in the settings. We could say instead of a border, we could set it to 0, which is what I had on my Carrie layout because I don't like this border, but we'll leave it there just so you can see what it does. So now when I drag things around, I can go into any of these 3 little zones I made over here. I can snap this back into this bigger middle zone I have. Notice this spacing in here that shows the desktop behind, which we could set down to 0 so there's no border. I'll press Windows Shift Backtick again, or grave accent. And I'll go in here and just show one last thing, which is that you can create a layout shortcut to jump between layouts. So here we go, say shortcut for the Carrie layout is 0, and the shortcut for example 2 is 1. Okay, so right now we are still on this weird layout I just threw together right here. But if I use the keyboard shortcut, Control Windows Alt 0, we've switched back to my normal layout. And then again, Control Windows Alt 1 would take us back to that layout. I don't switch between layouts. I only use my one Carrie layout, but I love the flexibility and it doesn't get in your way. You can still use the Windows shortcuts for snapping things to corners or sides. Things don't snap unless you want them to, so you can drag things down around like normal. The snap doesn't do anything unless you're holding down the shift key when you drag and drop. So it's perfect. I hope you can try it and enjoy it.